and this is episode 51 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. And I'm gonna get it started right off with the All-Star voting for the MLB. It's been a fun season. The Cardinals just went 5-1 in their last 6 games. So yeah, it's been a good baseball season so far. So I'm gonna get into the All-Star voting. I did All-Star voting for the WNBA last weekend. So I'm gonna do it for for the not the WNBA, but for the MLB this week. So yeah, make sure y'all leave a like, a subscribe to the channel, a comment if you're new. Sports content all throughout the week, every weekend. Always live on Saturdays at noon time. So I'm gonna get to this in just a few seconds. And then the Chicago Sky they're gonna play the Phoenix Mercury. So there's some WNBA stuff too, which I'm sure people that are seeing this, that's probably the thing y'all most excited for the WNBA stuff. So I'm gonna do that right after this. So okay, they all got the Mercury winning that game, which they probably will, because the Mercury they're at 10-4 this season. But all right, let's get started with the MLB All Star voting. This is my I've been watching baseball for a few years now. I've never voted for the All Stars, so this is gonna be interesting. So I got to select one player for first base. Or okay. Hmm. I'm gonna go with Wilson Contreras. I think really over this entire season, he's been our standout of the season for the Cardinals. So I'll go Wilson Contreras. Got 10 home runs, 50 RBIs. And probably funny. He's not gonna be in the MVP conversation, but he's had a really good season. It just sucks that the Cardinals could be better. Just have been so inconsistent this season. But I will vote for Wilson Contreras since I am a Cardinals fan. So he should at least be. If we only get one All Star, it should be him because he's had a great season this year. Now for the American League or first base, uh, American League for first base, I'm gonna go with Vladimir. Yeah, I'll go with Vladimir Guerrero for first base on the American League. He haven't seen too many Blue Jays games this season, but he's had a great year so far. Now for second base, let's go back to the National League, see who I should pick for second base. Yeah, this one not that hard. I'm gonna go with Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman's had a great year this year. The Dodgers have once again having a good season. Could go back to back in the World Series. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So I definitely go with Tommy Edman. I mean, he's he's been on the same level as Shohei Ohtani this year. I wouldn't say he's been better because Shohei's still having a good season, but in the Dodgers they're gonna have multiple All Stars this year. But I'll vote Tommy Edman for second base. Then for the American League, should I go? I'm gonna go with Jose Altuve since I've seen the more Astros games. Yeah, I've seen a bit of Astros games this season, so I'll go with Jose Altuve for that spot. Now for third base, let's see what I'm thinking for third base for the National League. I could be biased and put Nolan Arenado up there since I do got his jersey up right over there. So I could go with Nolan Arenado. He had It's between Nolan Arenado and Matt Chapman for this spot. I think I'm gonna go with Chapman for this one. I'm gonna be unbiased with that because I think, like I said, no, Arenado, he hasn't been our best player. He's still been having a good season, but I think it's just Matt Chapman's just been a bit better at third base this season. Then for the American League, let's see. Mm, yeah, I'm gonna go with Jose Ramirez. Yeah, the Guardians have been kind of disappointing this season. I think the Guardians are 37 and 37, and I'll definitely be watching that game tonight. But I'm surprised with them being the way that they've been playing this season. I thought they'd be better than that. I thought they'd be a team contending. So yeah, I gotta put him. I'll go with him. But the Guardians should be a lot better than what they are this season. Like I'm very surprised. But yeah, I definitely put the Guardians up there. And let me wait. Make the background. Okay, I like this background. I forgot to change it since I had the other background up. But back to what I was saying. Back to the voting. Yeah, so I think I think this has been some solid voting so far. All right, shortstop. Ooh, this one is tough. It's between Mookie Betts and Francisco Lindor. I mean, even Joey Ortiz could go up there. So it's a few people up here. So I pick anybody from. I don't think I pick anybody from the Mets. I'm gonna go with Francisco Lindor. I do think Mookie Betts has been better, but in the Mets, they definitely don't have an All Star this year. So I'll go with him. And then for shortstop on the American League, Gunnar Henderson. I thought he'd be playing a bit better this season, so I can't go with Gunnar. Got Jacob Wilson, Bobby Witt Jr. That's a good one. I got to go with Bobby Witt Jr. from KC. And now I need a catcher for both sides. Okay, William. Pretty sure that's his brother. Let's see. Ooh, Will Smith, Carson Kelly. I ain't seen that many Cubs games. I can't fake it. I ain't seen a lot of Cubs games. So I'm gonna go with Will Smith because and not off the name. Like Will Smith has been great this season. He's been having a good year. So I definitely gotta go with Will Smith for the National League. I could have went with Carson Kelly, but I ain't seen enough Cub games to really make that decision to put him up there. So I'll go with that. And then for the American League, I'm trying to think. I don't know who to go with for the American League. That's what I'm trying to. I need to be smart about this. I'm gonna go with Alejandro Kirk from what I've seen from the Blue Jays this season. I'll go with Alejandro Kirk. Now I need outfielders for both sides. Okay, outfielders for both sides. Like I said, I ain't seen much from these teams or these players in general. I won't put them up there. I'm gonna pick people that I at least have some knowledge of. So for the National League, I'm gonna go with Cal Tucker for sure. He definitely should be an All-Star. He's had a great season. Jordan Walker, I'm gonna have to come back at maybe because I'm trying to see if it. Oh no, nah, it had to be Lars Nootbaar. I'd rather go with Lars Nootbaar for that spot. Uh, yeah, I'll go with Lars Nootbaar because even though we haven't been what I feel like we can be more consistent and be better, we have had a solid season. Then I'll go with Jackson Merrill too. I really like what Jackson Merrill's been able to do. So I'll put him in the outfield as well for the National League. Now for the American League, mm, Cody Bellinger, I definitely say he's up there. Been having a great season. Javier Baez, he can go up there, and then And Mike Trout been in the league for a minute now. Let's see. But I'm going with Jaron Durden. I'm going with Jaron Durden. Those are my 3 picks, or my 6 picks for the outfield. And now I just need a designated hitter for both sides. Okay, this one shouldn't be too difficult to pick from. Shohei Ohtani is definitely being a designated hitter for the National League. I'll be surprised if it's not him. And then for the American League, this one's a bit tougher for the American League because I'm trying to. Do I go with Ben Rice? Do I go? Because I don't. The over's been. Yeah, I'll go with Ryan O'Hear. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. So these are gonna be. Yeah, yeah. This one I'm going for the MLB All Star Game this year. I think they did a good job with this list. I feel all this stuff out after I get done with this. But yeah, let me know what y'all think of who I voted for the All Star team for the MLB this year. When is All Star Weekend? Vote. So voting for starters is from June 30th to July 2nd. So that's coming up soon. But yeah, that's what I have for the MLB All Star Game this year. And then, like I said, I'll finish wrapping it up once I get done with this stream because I'm not putting all my personal information on here. But moving on to the next topic, which is about Caitlin Clark. And this Caitlin Clark gets a lot of credit, and she is a great player. She is having another good season. Will likely be an all-star once again, despite missing 4 or 5 games due to injury. She is having another great season. I'm not taking that away from Caitlin Clark. My problem is it's just a narrative that the WNBA only has fans and it's only growing because of what Caitlin Clark has been able to do. The WNBA just added a new team, the Golden State Valkyries, who have had in their first 10 or 11 games multiple sellouts without Caitlin Clark being in that arena. The Golden State Valkyries have had multiple sellouts already, and they don't have some straw on their team. The woman they got from overseas in the draft isn't even on the team yet. She's not coming over to next year. So if that team can have multiple sellouts without any of those games featuring Caitlin Clark, I don't see how people can make this narrative that it's only Caitlin Clark helping the WNBA. When you have plenty of women and plenty of players in the WNBA putting the work in, and you have great teams like the WNBA Finals went 5 games last year between the Liberty and the Lynx. And that in the finals did numbers last year. Caitlin Clark was a part of the finals. She was going in the first round. Her team was swept in the first round last year. And then you got the Lynx and the Liberty, who are the top 2 teams in the league, with the Lynx being 11-1, with the Liberty being 10-2. Then you got the Mercury at 10-4 this season, led by Alyssa Thomas, who's been having a good season and surprised me as far as what I expected from the Phoenix Mercury. The Indiana Fever are 6-6, and like I said, Caitlin Clark has been out a few games, but A'ja Wilson, who just won MVP, and it's essentially the LeBron of the league. She can do it all. She's a do-it-all power forward. She can do everything on the court essentially, and she doesn't get as much recognition as a Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Like it's just constant debate of who was better between Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, but it's stupid because you can't compare their games. They'll never be the same player. Caitlin Clark will be the better player, but it don't make Angel Reese bad. Like I'm watching the Sky game right now, and game just started a few minutes ago. But when Angel Reese had her triple double, it was she went 2-7 from the field. Well, think about how she got the triple double because I watched that game. She was playmaking. She did a great job playmaking in that game. She was getting rebounds, and before this game came on today, that's on now with them against the Mercury. The analyst said that even without the quote-unquote rebounds, she would still be second in the league in rebounds. So she's not just doing it on the offensive end. She's holding up possessions on the defensive end as well. She's a good defender. The Chicago Sky are in a position where they let go of Kennedy Carter. Well, they didn't let her go, but they didn't re-sign her. So now you don't have a lead guard. You don't have a lead scorer on your team. So it's more pressure on Angel Reese and it's more pressure on players on the other team. Angel Reese is not the type of player that should be that should be the number one option on the team. And also, there's only two players that averaged a double-double this season. One of them is Angel Wilson, who's a three-time MVP. The other person is Angel Reese, who's in her second season. So that just goes to show you how good Angel Reese actually is. Like all these narratives that she's so bad, this and that. Her triple-double against the Sun was very impressive. She had 11 points. She struggled from the field, shooting 2 of 7. But she also had 13 rebounds and 11 assists. She did a great job playmaking in that game. And like I said, I watched that game. She was, aside from her shooting, she was great. She was impactful in the other areas. She's playing good defense. She's closing out possessions. And she's missing the shots. She's getting her quote-unquote rebounds. Sometimes she does press the shots, but if she's still second in rebounds without the quote-unquote rebounds, then I don't understand what your points are. Because the same thing can be said for SGA in the NBA. People want to take away his free throws and say that he isn't anything without them. But if you take his free throw, if you take everybody's free throws away, Shea still leads the league in points. And it's two players that have had a triple-double this season. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Those are the two players that have a triple-double this season. And if we want to compare, Caitlin Clark stayed in the game an extra 2 minutes longer than she should have to get the last rebound. And I don't mind it. I don't really care about stat padding. Get your triple-double. I have no problem with it. But Caitlin Clark gets a lot of credit when, she's the best in her draft class. That's cool, but why do we act like it wasn't other women before her? Why do we act like the WNBA didn't have Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, people like this who are all doing their thing in the WNBA? Even Angel Wilson now, who's been in there before Caitlin Clark, been in there a few years now. Actually, she probably been in there like 7 or 8 years at this point. Brittany Griner, bro, for the whole thing with DeMarcus Cousins was stupid, saying that she could beat him in a 1v1. But Brittany Griner was really like that, and she's still playing solid now. Like, she went to Atlanta, and they're a top 4 seed now to start the season. They're 9-4, having a good start to the season. So, like, we give Caitlin Clark all this credit, and we act like none of these other women are doing anything. And then people want to talk about Kelsey Plum. Oh, she's not this and that. Yes, she is. She's one of the top 20 players in the league right now. Probably top 15, maybe top 10. You could, I'd say top 15, but you can make a top 10 argument for Kelsey Plum. And then it's a problem when they don't want autographs being asked for autographs outside of their homes. You don't, or their hotels. You ask for autographs either at a game or at a meeting. Stop asking these athletes for autographs at airports and in their hotels. Like the people that asked Kelsey Plum for an autograph found out the hotel she was living at. They do this with every athlete. They find out the hotel they're living at, and then they try to get an autograph. Do y'all not find that weird? So you want to know specifically where she's at. I would feel uncomfortable knowing there's people like that in the world. So Kelsey Plum can't even go to her hotel after the game and get some rest. She has to be harassed by fans asking for autographs, and then she's in the wrong for them to do. They're weird. No, she's not. She's in the right. Because why are you outside of her hotel waiting for an autograph? That is weird. There is something seriously wrong with you for doing that. And people saying, oh, well, the women complain about growing the product. They want the product to grow, but that does not help grow the product. That's weird. That's creepy. That makes people feel uncomfortable. And I made a short about this. I posted it on Instagram. I posted it on Threads. So it's in 3 different places if you want to hear me speak about it again. But even Kelsey Plum, she's been in the WNBA for a while doing her thing. Sabrina Ionescu was the woman chosen to do the 3-point contest with Steph Curry 2 years ago. Not Caitlin Clark when she was in college. It was Sabrina Ionescu. So Caitlin Clark gets so much credit as if she's the only player in the W. Caitlin Clark is a great player, and I enjoy watching her play. But we shouldn't be giving her all this credit as if she's the best thing in. She's the best player in the W when she's not. When there's other women that are ahead of her, you can make an argument for her being top 5, but she's not the best player. She probably, you still forgot to even mention Nafisa Collier, who's been leading the Lynx to an 11-1 record. Nafisa Collier has been amazing these last 2 or 3 years. So I don't understand this obsession with Caitlin Clark and making everything about her. Do the WNBA go a little too far? The players themselves, yes, Caitlin Clark even though she flops, she does get a lot of unnecessary hate in the game itself. But from the media and from the fans, she gets so much credit. But she's not the only one putting the work in. Angel Reese is the only one putting work in. Like Angel Reese's statement was right that people are watching not just because of one person, but it's other people in the W. It's you have Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thompson. You have all these great women in the WNBA. It's funny to me how the media just wants to make this narrative about push this narrative that Caitlin Clark is the only reason why the WNBA is growing. And Paige just got drafted, and she's already putting up similar numbers to what Caitlin Clark did last year. Even though my Dallas Wings are 3-11 this season, we done won back-to-back games. But Paige has been having a great year. Haley Van Leaf, she's really getting playing time for some reason. And now we got people talking about, well, she only had 10K followers, then what she mean the W. What does that matter? Who cares how many followers she has? What are we talking about? We're supposed to be talking about the basketball here. Who cares about how many followers they got on social media? Haley Van Leaf is great, and she's been getting more playing time recently, as she should have. She was a high prospect in college, so she should be getting more playing time. But we shouldn't just narrow it down to, oh, everything is about Caitlin Clark. Speak on other players, speak on other teams. Like, talk about the schedule. Why don't the Lynx and Liberty have their rematch until July? It's June 21st. The season been started. We're 13 games into the season, and the Lynx and Liberty, who met up in the finals last year, don't play until July. Y'all don't want to talk about that though. I guess nothing is important. I guess Caitlin Clark is the only thing that matters for real. But you know what? With that being said, yeah, like I said, Caitlin Clark is a great player. That's not no diss towards Caitlin Clark. But if the Golden State Valkyries had multiple sellouts within their first 10 games, and none of those, and I think they played the Fever once, because I'm pretty sure that game sold out. But I don't know if that was in Golden State. But they had multiple home games sell out already. Their first home game was sold out when they played the LA Sparks, and there was a game that Kelsey Plum had 37. The player that people want to call irrelevant, the player that scored the most points in the season opener this season. So please stop with these dumb narratives and actually watch the sport. But next, what is next for Connor McDavid? The Edmonton Oilers just went to the Stanley Cup back-to-back years. Lost in 7 last year, lost in 6 this year. What is next for Connor McDavid? That's really a question up to y'all because I don't know. I don't know what's next for Connor McDavid. I mean, he had another good season. And I had to look at his stats real quick because, like I said, and then I felt like he played better last year than this year. But it might be time for Connor McDavid to wrap it up. Because in these last few games to end the season, he wasn't that great. He said on Canadian TV they split the screen and paint the fifth cup and McDavid running the locker room. Yeah, but what's next for Connor McDavid? That's what we're going to talk about. Because Connor McDavid then they got blown out 5-1. He had -4. He had 2 shots on goal, didn't hit either one of them. He had 2 blocks. I mean, but he didn't do anything in that. He had a 33 win percentage and face-off win percentage. So I mean, the game before that, he had one goal and was a -1. He had a minus in the last 4 games. He was a -1 or worse. He was a -1 in 3 of the last 4, -4 in the last one. Had 7 shots on goals in the second game. Yeah, in game 2 he had 7 shots on goal. Didn't make any of them. He did have three assists though. He didn't make any shots on goal, and they would end up losing. And so he didn't lost. I mean, he did a decent job. I mean, he was at 50% for most. He only had a win percentage above a face-off win percentage above 50% once. But I'm really trying to think what's next for Connor McDavid because it really might be it for him at this point. With them going to the Cup last year, losing in 7, and what was a very winnable series for the Oilers last year. And then even this year, they had a chance, especially after that game 1. Then they just lost in overtime again. It was a fun series. I think this series this year was more fun than last year, despite it being one less game. but the Panthers went back to back. And I don't know what's next for Connor McDavid. He is great, but is Connor McDavid really going to retire ringless? I don't know if I see that. I think I said this during my predictions a while back, right before the playoffs started, that I think that uh, I said that the Oilers could go back because Connor McDavid's career is probably winding down, but I didn't think they'll win it, and I was right about that. They still, like, he has the hunger, he wants the championship, but at this point, is it even worth it? Because how old? I mean, Connor McDavid is 28, but I don't know the typical. I don't know the typical career span for a hockey player. So it's 10. Is he running back one more year? Because this is 10th. This is 10th season. If anybody in the chat know the typical career span of a hockey player, I'm not really sure. So it could be the end of his career, or he could have 3 or 4 more years left. I'm not really sure. But I can see him running it back. But his gains have declined over the last few years. But he didn't make the All-Star team this year after making the All-Star team 3 straight years. But he still got maybe running back. Maybe try it again with the Oilers. 10 years, 7 playoffs, went to the Cup twice. Went to the Cup back to back. But what y'all think in the chat? Do y'all think Connor McDavid runs it back with the Oilers? Or do y'all think he retires? I'm not really sure. And the Phoenix Mercury have a 31-18 lead over the Chicago Sky right now. Okay. But moving on to the next thing, New Japan. I've tried to keep up with New Japan Pro Wrestling this year. It is hard to keep up with, and but the viewership has been declining for a minute now. I think since, could be wrong, but like around pandemic, around 2020, I think that's when it started to decline. But I think it's a reason for that, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Like, they have lost some of their top stars in and what's his name, Kenny Omega, with him going to AEW. He did around that time. Obviously, they lost AJ and Finn a while ago. It was somebody else. Okada. Them losing him was definitely a big blow. They lost Ospreay as well. So they've lost a lot of top talent over the years, and they still got the partnership with AEW, which is why they keep it on some of those AEW people. Like, that's why Mercedes still has the belt for a minute. The viewership was actually looking decent when Mercedes went there in 2024 or 2023. Whenever Mercedes went there before her AEW run that she's currently in, when she went there, the viewership went up a little bit. So it looked like that could work out. But because she had a good run in New Japan, then she got injured. So because people that are huge fans of Mercedes Moné, they follow her to New Japan to see what she was doing over there. So that would help the viewership for New Japan. But then since the injury and then her ended up leaving, it definitely, like, they haven't had many top stars since that. Zack Sabre Jr. is still a star because he's been there forever. So he became a star he stayed there. He grinded his way through the system. And then he looks a lot better now. He's not as skinny as he was back in like 2018, 2017. So he definitely got a little bit of muscle on him. Zack Sabre Jr. has been doing his thing. Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Hikaru Goto is the champion now, and he had to wait forever for his time. He's only had it once, and he's, 40-something? But I think with them losing their top stars, I think once they lost Okada, that was the biggest blow. Because obviously with Kenny gone, that was going to hurt you. But he left in 2019. But then you had 2020, you had the pandemic, and then it just became harder for people to come up with New Japan. Because once the partnership, or once the deal with Access TV ended, that's when it was like, oh, how are we supposed to watch this now? And I think it's like TNA, they had their own network on Direct, I think. If you get Direct, I'm pretty sure TNA got their own channel where you can watch old TNA pay-per-views and stuff like that. And then TNA was on Access TV as well, but that's how TNA kept up with having their own TV network. And then you can just pay like $30, $40 for the pay-per-views. But for New Japan, they were just like, we're just going to use the app. So for people that's not in Japan, the only way they're getting it is through the app. or if you have some illegal way to watch it with a VPN or something. But yeah, I think with them losing guys like Okada, like Kenny, Mercedes only being there for a short time, that's why they keep the partnership going with AEW because they expect it to help their ratings, which it can at times. But once they do Forbidden Door, it's like they don't really change much because some of these people end up coming over. Like they did Forbidden Door with Will Ospreay had multiple matches at Forbidden Door, and he ended up just coming over to AEW. So some of those people that was messing with New Japan or was just huge fans of Will Ospreay probably left New Japan and followed Will Ospreay because a lot of these audiences they be here because a lot of wrestling audiences is because they're fans of specific people. Like you're just a let's just say, for instance, like you like MJF, and MJF he has a pretty good following in AEW. He decides to leave in like 5 years. It's gonna be I'm not gonna say everybody like 50%, but maybe like 10% of AEW viewership might go down because a lot of people like MJF as a character. I don't know about him as a person because I don't really care about these wrestlers as people, not in like a rude way, but I've never interacted with any of these people. So at least not. I've interacted with a few wrestlers, not nobody mainstream. Let's just say MJF, for example. AEW might lose 10% of their viewership because that's how big MJF is and how many fans he has that are willing to follow him to a different company. Like when Mercedes left, there's obviously the WWE fans who want to keep up with her and WWE, but if you're a big Mercedes Moné fan, you're going to keep up with her going to the company no matter where she goes. Let's just say, and then, because she left in around 20, I won 2020. That was, I forget what year that was. They left because Trin Naomi ended up going to TNA because in 2023. So I think that's 2022 when they left. So let's just say WWE lost 5% of their viewership. It's not nothing huge, but that's still a loss of viewership with Mercedes leaving. And I think that's what New Japan ran into. They just lost too many top stars with Okada, Kenny, Ospreay, like losing all of them in the same decade. That really hurts. Mercedes was only there for a year. Then she still works with them. Like she goes back and forth between New Japan and AEW. She's mainly AEW, but she has a good relationship and connection. But she's in with CMLL, these other companies overseas in Mexico and stuff like that. So it's like with them losing, I think the biggest reason for their viewership going down is that they lost three of their top stars this decade, and Okada, Kenny Omega, and Will Ospreay. That definitely hurt. Then I think the second reason is it's not being accessible to as many people as it used to be. Like when they were on Access TV, it was accessible to anybody with cable. And now you can even have this with cable. You can even get it on a streaming platform. You have to download the New Japan app to get it and pay $10 a month for it. But and then you don't even get every event in English. Like some options to give you a option. No, some shows you have an option to watch in English. Some shows you won't. The good thing is the pay-per-views cost $20, which it's like some of these events, like they don't even have. The third biggest reason I say is they don't have an actual weekly TV show. They just do events. They just do like if it's not a pay-per-view, they'll do an event and then cap off with an event. Like the road to. I had to look in my notebook for this, but they do like events instead of like actual TV shows. Like what was the best of the Super Juniors? That's a tournament they have, but they do it best of the Super Juniors Day 1, best of the Super Juniors Day 2, and then 3, 4, 6, and so on. So it's like you have, and how many days was the best of the Super Juniors was a 13-day thing. And day 13 was the finale, and you had other matches. And I think that was the best day for it because there was the actual event. There was actually the pay-per-view to cap it off. In my Like if it had something to cap it off, that's what I consider the pay-per-view, not the build up to it. But it's like they don't have an actual TV show, and I think that's what New Japan desperately needs. They need a weekly TV show once again. Maybe they call it Revolution. Like I know AEW has that pay-per-view name, but they could figure something out. Like Tony Khan might be able to help them come up with something. We can call it Revolution. Maybe give them Rampage. Maybe New Japan start their own version of Rampage. If Tony Khan signs off on it, because obviously they got the working relationship. So I think they need something like that. And what they had come on, they could do it like every Sunday. Have it come on every Sunday because you already know WWE has the week. They got Monday, They got Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. I'm not counting Evolve. But then AEW, they got Wednesday and Saturday most of the time. TNA got Thursdays, and AEW can get a TV deal for Ring of Honor. That'll probably be on Thursdays as well. So I was just looking on Sunday, and even if you do it at like a 5 p.m., I think you do it at 5, so you can have a 2 hour show. They don't run into no WWE stuff. I mean, it could, because WWE, they pick and choose when they want, if they want to do 6 to 7 for certain events. But if I'm New Japan, I'm doing it like 5, because if you had a show coming on this Sunday at 5 and the NBA Finals comes on at 7, oh, people that want to watch New Japan and wrestling, you can go from New Japan those 2 hours, then go straight into the NBA game, because the intro is going to take about 10 minutes. So that'll give you some time to flip the channel, grab a snack, get back. Then by the time you get back, it's going to be 7:10 and the game will be started. So I think that's what New Japan needs. Because I think even with them losing some of their top stars, like Zack Sabre Jr., definitely a star. Hikaru Goto a star. Hiroshi Tanahashi is getting ready to retire soon. So I would put it on, I would put that on Hiroshi Tanahashi one more time before he leaves. Or at least, or he definitely going to be on the Forbidden Door card. He definitely got to be on that. But that's just my opinion on New Japan. Let me know what y'all think. And then the final order of business. The Baltimore Ravens have signed Jair Alexander. This is a great move. The Ravens got names. They have a stacked team. They got to the second round last year. Now you got Lamar, and you adding, like, obviously on offense you got Lamar. You got Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. He should be healthy. You got Isaiah Likely. I'm pretty sure Mark Andrews is still there, but Isaiah Likely probably gonna be taking that spot soon. Then on defense, which you already had, then you adding Jair Alexander. Like, this team is really deep. Like, I had to look at their depth chart, but the Ravens have some great depth, and Jair Alexander, that only makes the defense even better. And this team should win a Super Bowl. There's no excuse for this team to lose in the playoffs next year to anybody in the AFC. I think that's how big of a move this is for them. I think this really helps. Uh, he said, speaking of those of the pandemic, do you take any of these Mickey Mouse championships that were won in sports during that time seriously? Yeah, I think all championships are won differently, so I don't discredit anything. Like, at the end of the day, every championship is won differently, whether it's a shortened season, whether it's an injury, anything like that. Like, don't take championships away. Like, you had in the who won I'm pretty sure Brady won during that time, won another Super Bowl. Or I could be wrong. Maybe that's where the Chiefs won. Because I know it was Chiefs and it's Chiefs with the Niners and Brady went to the Bucks and they won. So I forget. That's around the same time, but regardless, I think that all counts. The Lakers won in the bubble, that counts because nobody can beat them. And the Lakers already had the best record in the league before the pandemic started. So I don't discredit any championship in the pandemic and that. I don't call making us championships anything like that. But at the end of the day, people are gonna try to point out flaws in every ring, no matter how it's won. So even doing this, even in WWE, like, I can't take away anything. Like, that's the time that Drew McIntyre was over, and that's the time that he ended up winning the championship. It just sucks that he come in front of a live crowd, but Drew McIntyre definitely should have been champion, and he had a good reign with the championship. So I count all of those championships the same. But back to the yeah, but like I was saying with the Ravens, they still got Roquan Smith. You still got Cal Hamilton. You got Marlon Humphrey. You add Jair Alexander to that team. You got Nate Williams as well. So I'm like, this team is going to be really tough to beat next season. Like, I'd be surprised if anybody beats this team in the AFC. Like, I don't see the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. I'd be surprised if they do. Like, they're going to get to the playoffs for sure. But this team is deep. Like, let's think about the offense they finna have. And I'm going to get into this when I do my predictions. I'm going to do my NFL predictions next week. Because this team with Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, like, this team is going to be really tough to beat out in the AFC next season. They should be on. They should be winning the Super Bowl. If they don't, I'd be disappointed. They should at least get there. Them at least get there, I'm definitely disappointed. But they should win it. And especially with the defense that they got now. Now, as far as special teams goes, special teams might look a little shaky. That's special teams might be their only concern. But aside from that, with Calvin, Noy, Roquan Smith, Nate Wiggins, Cal Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, and Adam Jair Alexander, fantastic team. The way this team is constructed, they're going to be a really good team. So I'd be surprised if they end up losing next year. I'd be disappointed if they lost next year. But I definitely think that this Ravens team is a lot better and that they've improved. So with that being said, athletes of the week, last topic per usual for every episode of my podcast. So for athletes of the week, for the NHL, I went with Sam Reinhart in Game 4, had 1 goal and 1 point in a 5-2 win. And in Game 5, he had 4 goals and 4 points in a 5-1 win. And the Panthers won both of those games to win the Stanley Cup 4-2. So Sam Reinhart, I give athlete of the week for the NHL. For AEW, I'm going to go with Brody King. That 14-man tag team match was very clunky and weird. But Brody King did his thing. Like, Brody King was the MVP of that match. He tried to save it. There's only so much one man can do. But Brody King did what he could, and it was a great. He had a good showing in the match. It wasn't a good match, but he had a good showing. For the NBA, I went with Pascal Siakam. The NBA Finals is now tied 3-3. I do think OKC wins Game 7. But Pascal Siakam, in a loss in Game 5, had 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 9 of 15 from the field, shot, what does that say? Now, he had 2 blocks and 3 steals. I forgot to put it on that side, but he had 2 blocks and 3 steals. Then he also went 7 of 8 from the line. Then in Game 6, in the game they won, tied the series, he had 16 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block on 6 of 14 shooting, and 3 of 3 from the free throw line. Pretty sure he went 1 of 3 from the line. No, from the 3-point line. I think he went 1 of 3 on threes. For New Japan Pro, I went with Hikaru Goto, as I was just speaking on earlier. But he had 2 6-man tag team matches this week against Team Zack Sabre Jr., and he won both of those matches, outshining Zack once again. I think they have another match today. Their 2 teams. I'm going to have to check that out. So I'll probably cover that next week, more than likely, before my subscription for New Japan is done, because I did cancel that. I'm not keeping that subscription no more for New Japan. And then for WWE, I went with Randy Orton. That segment on SmackDown with him, Sammy, Jay, and Cody Rhodes, it was a great segment. I really enjoyed it. I felt like all 4 guys really did a good job in it. Cody didn't get a chance to speak, which I found very interesting. But Sammy, Jay, Randy, they all did their thing, and Randy was like, "I'm gonna do anything it takes to get to 14, to get to 15. I don't care how long or we've been friends, how much I respect you. I want 15." So it's a really good segment. Then the match he had with Sami Zayn was great. And I was like, and I didn't like how the final. I don't like the fact that the 4 participants in this match, well, in the finals, in the semifinals, 3 of them are former world champions. But Randy Orton, they're gonna do Randy versus Cody. But Randy Orton winning the match, it was a great match. So I mean, it's still weird that he's in the finals once again, but it was a great match. So credit to Randy Orton for that. For TNA, I went with the hometown man, aka Cody Deaner. He was back on Impact and teamed up with Matt Cardona to defeat Eddie Edwards and JDC in a very good tag team match. And the hometown man, he definitely shined and was the star of that match. For the MLB, I went with Wilson Contreras, as I spoke on him earlier, led my Cardinals to a 5-1 record in our last 6 games, being at bat 18 times, having 5 runs, 3 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1 stolen base. Just had a really good week and was very impactful, leading our team to 5 wins in our last 6 games. And then for the WNBA, had to go with Paige Buckers. We've won back-to-back games this week. We are now 3-11. We're finally starting to get some wins. She had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks on 19-18 from the field. Unfortunately, went over 5 from 3 and went 2 or 2 from the line in a win versus Golden State Valkyries. And last night she had 21 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals on 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, and 6 of 7 from the line in a win versus Connecticut Sun, who have been struggling very bad this season and are the worst team in the league now. As we have improved, and instead of being the worst team, we're now the second worst team in the league. But that caps it off for my athletes of the week, and that will cap it off for the stream. So thank anybody that came through. Make sure y'all leave a like on the stream, leave a comment on the video, share, subscribe if you're new. But this was fun, and I'll be back with some more content this week and a new episode of my podcast next. Oh, the Saudi show is next week. So Night of Champions is next week. So I might not do a live next week. I might just do a video and have it Friday night and release it Saturday morning. But it's going to do it for this week's episode of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 51. The 1-year anniversary will be next week.